Elvis's $16,000 sandwich. In 1976, Elvis got a late-night craving for his favorite sandwich, the legendary Fool's Gold Loaf from Colorado. So what did the king do? He boarded his private jet and flew 1,000 miles to Denver. The $50 sandwich. A whole loaf of bread hollowed out, filled with a jar of peanut butter, a jar of jelly, and a pound of crispy bacon. Elvis and his friends ate them right there, in the airport hangar at 2 a.m., then flew straight back to Memphis. Total cost in today's money. About $16,000. For sandwiches. Want to make Elvis's famous midnight sandwich? Recipe coming in our next video. Here's the recipe for Elvis's famous $16,000 sandwich, the Fool's Gold Loaf. You'll need 1 whole loaf Italian bread, about 16 inches long. 1 jar, 16 ounces creamy peanut butter. 1 jar, 16 ounces grape jelly. 1 pound bacon, cooked crispy. First, warm the bread at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. Slice lengthwise and hollow out the inside, leaving a 1-inch shell. Spread the entire jar of peanut butter on one side. Spread the entire jar of jelly on the other. Layer all the crispy bacon inside. Put it back together and slice to serve. 1 Fool's Gold Loaf could feed about 8 to 10 people. No wonder Elvis brought his friends along for that midnight flight. Meet Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's manager. He had a brilliant, but bizarre, business idea. While Elvis was causing controversy with his hip-shaking performances, Parker started selling "I Hate Elvis" badges to protesters and critics. That's right, Elvis's own manager was making money from people who couldn't stand Elvis. If people were going to hate, Colonel Parker figured they might as well pay for it. In 1973, Elvis made television history. His Aloha from Hawaii concert was about to become something revolutionary. For the first time ever, an entertainment special would be broadcast worldwide by satellite. An estimated 1.5 billion people tuned in, more than had watched the moon landing. The king of rock and roll had just become the king of global television. While stationed in Germany with the army in 1958, Elvis discovered something that would become a lifelong passion. He began studying karate under Master Jürgen Seidel, training between his military duties. Elvis earned his first degree black belt in 1960 and continued practicing for the rest of his life. He even incorporated karate moves into his famous stage performances. In 1957, Elvis was just 22 years old, when he did something extraordinary. He bought Graceland Mansion for $102,500. That's about $1 million in today's money. The young king of rock and roll turned this 13.8-acre estate into his castle, complete with jungle room, meditation garden, and racquetball court. Not bad for a 22-year-old who just a few years earlier was driving a truck for a living. Remember Elvis's first recording for his mother. Here's what really happened. In 1953, an 18-year-old Elvis walked into Sun Studios with just $4 in his pocket to record My Happiness. What Elvis didn't know, this little studio was owned by Sam Phillips, the man who would launch his career. Sometimes the best gifts lead to unexpected opportunities. That $4 recording session changed music history forever. In 1967, a fan approached Elvis at the International Hotel with an unusual request. Would Elvis be willing to serve as a groomsman in a complete stranger's wedding? Not only did Elvis say yes, he brought his entire entourage to the ceremony. The king of rock and roll became a wedding party member for a fan he'd just met. Now that's taking care of business. In 1972, Elvis was about to make history at Madison Square Garden. The king announced 4 shows at the legendary venue. What happened next was extraordinary. 80,000 tickets sold out in less than an hour. Even after 15 years of stardom, the king of rock and roll was still selling out arenas faster than anyone else. Remember how Elvis started dyeing his hair with shoe polish? Well, the story continues. As Elvis rose to fame, he got professional help maintaining his signature look. His hairdresser, Larry Geller, revealed that keeping Elvis's naturally sandy blonde hair the perfect shade of black became a precise art. From shoe polish to professional dye jobs, Elvis was committed to his iconic image. In 1955, Elvis bought his first Cadillac, a pink 1954 Fleetwood. But just 3 months later, the car caught fire on the highway due to brake problems. Elvis immediately bought another one, a 1955 Cadillac, and had it painted custom pink. That second pink Cadillac became one of his most iconic possessions, and he gave it to his mother Gladys. In 1946, a little boy walked into Tupelo hardware store, hoping for a bicycle. His mama only had $7.75 to spend. So she bought him a guitar instead. That disappointed kid. He grew up to be Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. Sometimes the best gifts aren't the ones we ask for.
Elvis had a twin brother. His twin brother, Jesse Garon Presley, was born 35 minutes before him but was stillborn. Elvis's mother bought him his first guitar for $7.75 when he was 11 years old. He often carried it with him in school. Elvis never toured outside the U.S. Elvis's manager, Colonel Tom Parker, was an illegal immigrant and feared he wouldn't be allowed back into the country if he left. Elvis's natural hair color was dark blonde, but he started dyeing it black with shoe polish as a teenager. Elvis idolized the gospel group The Statesmen, and his dance moves were inspired by their bass singer, James "Big Chief" Wetherington. Elvis loved peanut butter, banana, and bacon sandwiches, often referred to as the Elvis sandwich. Elvis was a black belt in karate and often incorporated martial arts moves into his stage performances. The name, Graceland, comes from the original owner's daughter, Grace, not from Elvis himself. In 1970, Elvis met President Richard Nixon at the White House, where he expressed his concerns about drug use and offered to help fight it. Elvis wanted to be known as a serious actor and took his roles in movies very seriously. Elvis holds the record for the most songs to chart in Billboard's Top 40, with 114 hits. Elvis served in the U.S. Army from 1958 to 1960, during which time he was stationed in Germany. Elvis was known for his generosity, often giving away cars, jewelry, and even homes to friends and strangers alike. Elvis won 3 Grammy Awards, all for his gospel music, and received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award at age 36. Elvis had a pet chimpanzee named Scatter, who was known for his mischievous behavior. Elvis loved using Brute aftershave. Despite his musical talent, Elvis actually failed a music class in high school. Elvis was an avid gun collector and owned 37 firearms and 1 machine gun at the time of his death. At 19, Elvis auditioned for a gospel quartet called the Songfellows but was rejected because they thought he couldn't harmonize well. Elvis recorded his first song, My Happiness, as a birthday present for his mother when he was 18. Elvis is a distant relative of 2 former U.S. presidents, Abraham Lincoln and Jimmy Carter. Graceland, Elvis's famous mansion, has 23 rooms and sits on 13.7 acres.